Facing 6 major revolutions that are all coming to a head at the same time. And they're all coming to the head equivalent to a perfect storm, where all the elements that could possibly be assembled to wreak havoc on a nation are assembling themselves just right in front of our eyes. We're coming to an energy revolution, which is obvious by virtue of us being dependent on foreign oil. We're also coming to the end of money. Money is a situation where it's supposed to be a way of keeping track of things. It used to be that people would trade 1 cow for 25 chickens, let's say. Okay, 1 cow's worth 25 chickens. I hand you over a cow and you put on the sheet that I've got a credit of 1 cow. All right, you pay me 2 pigs in cases, and all of a sudden it's equivalent to 1 cow. Well, we used to do that by keeping track of things by virtue of some commonly accepted unit, like a gold coin that was worth a cow, or 2 pigs, or 25 chickens. So that established a value for 1 gold coin. And then we went on from there and established all kinds of things. Now money has value. It shouldn't have value. It only has value because of the fact that we've made it have value, and people in the money business think it should have value. Why? Because then they can make money just monkeying around with money. But that isn't the way it's supposed to be. All right, we're reaching the end of money, and because people have manipulated this so far that it's gotten way beyond anything that's even remotely resembles money. Look at the Occupy Wall Street crowd. They're there, why? Because the people who got us into the terrible financial mess that we got into by virtue of in 2008, which was an accumulation of a vast array of incompetent endangerment actions based on our politicians. They got us in all this trouble, and why? And what was going to happen? The financial system was going to collapse. Why? Because nobody believed in it anymore. Why? Because it was allowed to be manipulated by those people who became gods in the financial world. Well, end them, end their power, take away their damn money. All right, now, we're also getting to the end of growth. It used to be we could grow, and we could grow ad infinitum. We grew our way out of everything. If we owed too much debt, we inflated our way out of it. We grew the economy. We grew everything. All right, until in fact, though, you run into limits. And limits are when you don't have enough of something that you can draw from, like a source of raw materials, or you no longer have enough places to put the byproducts of the resources that you use. For instance, you mine some metal or cut down some trees. You have to burn them, or you have to use them up. And when you burn them, you create energy. You use it for cars, you use it for heating houses, you use it for whatever you're going to use energy for. But what do you do with the leftovers, the waste, the ash, the garbage? All right, well, you fill up pits with it. Well, these pits are called sinks, incidentally, in the scientific term. But, what do you do when these sinks are filled up? Well, you got to find another place for them. Either that or you dump them someplace they don't belong and you cheat. Well, that's what's happening now. All right. Another revolution we're facing is a population revolution. We just passed 7 billion people on Earth. 7 billion. This place wasn't built to handle 7 billion people. We are, those people who measure the total resources on Earth estimate that we're living at about 1.5 Earth's worth of resources right now. If everybody lived at the same level as the people in the United States live, we'd be living at 3 Earths worth of value. So that means that we're using 3 times the amount of the resources that are available on Earth right now. What are we going to do? Well, we're going to run out. All right, now, we are also facing an industrial revolution. We've had 2 of these before. One of them was when England changed from the milling people to steam engines in the milling machine. That was the first industrial revolution, and that existed in the early 1800s. Hundreds of thousands of manual laborers were displaced by looms and machines that make cloths. All right, the next step in this evolution was in the 1900s, the assembly line came along. And all of a sudden we automated the workforce one more time. So our productivity shot way up. Now all of a sudden we were producing like crazy, and we grew our way out of trouble again. And we manufactured a ton more things. But guess what? Now we're running out of the ability to do that too. So we're facing a population explosion. The people who are having the most kids are the least educated on the planet. So therefore, they have nothing to stop them from having more and more kids. More educated, more civilized, more up-to-date societies have fewer and fewer children. Those populations are going to die out and be replaced by those people who are still living in the Dark Ages. Why? Because they aren't educated, they don't know enough, they aren't trained enough, they aren't anything enough, and all they can do is just have babies. That's easy to do. So everybody can have babies. That's just a reproductive impulse. So let's have babies. All right, well, we're running out of room to put babies. Now, what do you do about that? All right, the next thing we're facing is we have now gotten to the point where we've expanded living to the point where we're facing an immortality crisis. Right now, I was in an engineering business. We built heart-lung machines for Sarnes Labs at the engineering company that I worked for. That means that you could take a person and put them on a heart-lung machine and have them operate essentially with all artificial organs. You can feed them intravenously, you can give them oxygen, you can clean their blood, you can clean the waste out of their system, you can do everything you need to do artificially. So, what do you need? Your brain. Well, we can do that right now. So people can be, or could be, immortal right now. It's just a little too expensive. But guess what? It's not going to be a little too expensive much longer. And besides that, whoever said to you that the argument was something is too expensive? If in fact, this is an argument against money, incidentally, who says that if in fact the world was going to die tomorrow, but the answer was there to save it, but guess what? It's too expensive. Are you going to take that for an answer? Phooey. You're going to say, to hell with that, it's not too expensive, we'll just dump our money problem here and buy it with something else. So, you know, money isn't a problem when you're faced with life and death situations. Obviously, money isn't worth as much as a life, if you're going to save a life, or all of humanity. It certainly isn't worth all of humanity, so it has a limit. Money has a limit. All these problems that I've just listed off all come to our doorstep because of what? It's a concept called bread and circuses. Bread and circuses were foisted on us by the Romans back when the Romans were in charge of the earth around the turn of Christ in his day. So that 2,000 years ago, roughly. And it was supposedly a saying meaning that the politicians could remain in power as long as they appeased the public by using bread and circuses. Feed them, entertain them, keep them happy, and they'll keep voting for you and keep you in power. Well, that's what's happening to us. Guess what? We're being duped by a bunch of damn politicians in office in there, and they want to get us so they have all the money, all the power, all of everything, and we're the ones that are suffering for this. They're spending us into oblivion. They're ruining every resource that we own. They're taking away our entire lifestyle. They're destroying the lives of our children, our grandchildren. They've already spent all of the money that will be taxed into our grandchildren's future. They've spent all the money that they could possibly spend already that goes into Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and the Great Society and everything else. It's time for another American Revolution. They didn't think the revolution was very funny back when they had one. All right, now, it's not very funny now either, but it's the only way that we're going to win. It's the only way we're going to survive. We need a flash mob. We need a flash revolution. We need power. The internet gives us power, us, the people. And if you want to make a change in government, you elect me. It'll be damned obvious to the politicians that they didn't elect me. It'll be damned obvious what you have in mind if you do elect me. And I expect you to do that. Why? Because I'm the only one out here making any sense. That's why. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to go to proud.com. There you can donate to my campaign. You can read my biography and qualifications for the presidency. You can also, from there, go to americanselect.org and click a support vote for me. I'm Jeffrey David Proud, and I approve of this message. I made it.